I see it like this. We're men, we are more compassionate and we're more human. So, I mean, now's not the time to be na 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 na. What you should be doing, and I'm talking to myself, you should be looking out for your loved ones and the people that you care for most. Whoever's in your circle that you care about, those are the ones you should be focusing on.
Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines crackback: a blindside block on a defensive back in football by a pass receiver who starts downfield and cuts back to the middle of the line. But let's be honest, we know what a crackback looks like when we see it. In my time on this planet, my several decades here, I have seen things in the last 3 months that I have not seen in my lifetime as an American. I saw a peacetime parade in front of a sitting American president of the American Army and Armed Forces. I then saw a kind of response, I guess, but maybe it's just timing, a couple of months later, of China demonstrating their military might in front of the world. And then I saw a state funeral for a journalist, or a talking head for social media, if you will, inside of 3 months. And as Martin would say,
look, Wallace, I don't know what's going on. And I'm not accusing you of nothing, okay? But something's going on.
Salute to AB Media 83 and the other gentleman he has on the panel, Emperor DeSalis and Nema. In this particular part, he's speaking with Red Pill Sleeper Cell, and he said something that's hitting close to home, especially in this environment we're in right now.
Now's not the time to be like, aha, like the way we see how this economy, we see how this world is moving.
Yeah.
These shenanigans that, this banter is the time and place for it. But certain things that we should be focusing on.
But I love you.
But he has a boat.
One of the benefits you get from living overseas is a chance to recalibrate your value system and see how people who are not as rich as Americans survive and live their lives and what they consider to be good days and success. If you lived in the West, you've had a chance to live in a level of opulence that the world hasn't really seen in a long time, if ever. And so it affords you liberties like delusion, or the idea that you don't need any other people, that you can just become a rich auntie, not have a husband, a family, and everything's just going to be fine. And that is an outlier. And unfortunately, in the midst of that outlier, even the elder women are still giving young women delusions. And it's going to lead to a crackback block.
Remember, all men are liars, so find one that lies on a yacht.
Huge block from number 24, Chavez Grant.
Be a good hoe. A good hoe don't never be a broke hoe.
Be a good hoe.
A good hoe, no. A good hoe don't never be a broke hoe.
If these are the mentors for younger women in a world that's becoming, well, let's just say different, and the ways that you got to live before are kind of evaporating away, and you're going to have to live in a manner that's closer to the ground, I think that young ladies are being set up for a crackback block, unfortunately.
The helmet goes flying off, and Miami took over.
But it's an interesting time more than ever because women don't really need partners.
Yeah.
They really don't need partners.
They don't, and they shouldn't. And honestly, can I have a really hot take here?
Yes, please.
That I've never had, and my daughter's gonna get shocked. I almost believe that get married young once and get divorced.
Yeah.
Get married. Get it out of your system.
Why do you even have to get married?
No, because get it out of your system. The women who are not married at all sometimes romanticize it to a point, but like married women look at them and you're like, oh my God. It is not like...
Wait, you know that married women live shorter lives than unmarried women.
Yes.
These kinds of, well, we'll call them correlations, are basically because we've lived in a very affluent, wealthy society for a very long time, and simply put, you have the ability as a single woman to basically live a very safe life without having a man in it. And that is one of the correlations of living in a very wealthy, healthy, safe time, that you don't need a man. You can use the state. You can use the police. You can use the firemen. You can use your list of guys that want to get with you to come over and fix your house for you. But what happens when we move into an era where men have already seen that that's how women are moving, And so guys are going to simply say, I'm not going to be your first husband to begin with. That is an old idea that I'm going to marry a woman that I know is going to divorce me because just being in her presence is so amazing. I don't think we're in that environment anymore. And so the idea that you marry a guy and quote unquote get it out of your system, that is based on old math, Miss Lady.
And married men live longer.
Well, they're taking our lives.
They're taking
They're
our
literally
lives.
like sucking that out of our bodies. Like
Yes.
literally. So I now think my daughter, if she actually, I would be like, listen, get married once, few months, year or two, get it out of your system.
Yeah.
Because the women I find who have it the hardest are the ones who never married and who are literally imagining Prince Charming. I'm like, he farts. It smells bad. His mother is that bad. It's not a story. But get that romance out of it and then focus on your life and build your thing.
Yeah.
Worry about building your own life.
It's so true. I mean, but it's quite revolutionary the way you talk about motherhood specifically as well as marriage, because, motherhood is a grind, and it is. No one talks about how tiring it is and how boring it is and how difficult it can be. And we're all supposed to pretend like we're having the best time in our lives and our children are our biggest gifts and miracles. And they are. They're wonderful, wonderful miracles. And I'm so happy to have them. But it's just like from one woman to another, one mother to another, one married woman to another, one divorced woman to another. When you start telling the truth on stage and you hear it from other people, it's a huge relief. You feel really seen. And that's your comedy. Your comedy is really, really good jokes, but you're telling the truth about life in real time. It's why people really respond to you.
It's very easy to make jokes in a time where everyone has food to eat, things are going well, and everyone's pretty much agreeing with each other. Again, these are the luxuries that come from stability and opulence. And if the world is changing, then maybe the first demand for people may not be on-stage comedy from feminists telling young ladies that they don't need men and they're going to find an available man that's simply going to marry them because a woman wants to get it out of their system. Oh, it's in Africa too now.
I'm too woke for marriage.
I'm too woke.
No, that man will, if he's too traditional, he'll have a tough time with me.
Correct.
That is why I'm like, do you know how many married single moms are out there?
Sure.
And they're busy pointing at us. Hey. So I don't take marriage lightly. I don't. Anyone who wants to marry me better be looking for a woman who is going to be, their partner, I
always find it interesting seeing this cascade of videos of women saying they want to be partners, because when you say 50-50, which is what the definition of a partner is, they have a gag reflex to it.
Your body's still recovering from literally building a human. Do you really think he's pulling his weight just because he paid half of the rent? Once real life hits, he gets to forget and you just handle it. And the more you handle, the more he expects you to, because you trained him to get used to it. You weren't born to have a roommate who calls him your partner.
Do you know how much more successful I would be if I had a wife?
I mean, with all due respect, I respect culture, I respect all of these things and stuff, but sometimes we need to be honest. Some of these things are man-made, only to benefit men.
If the assumption is that life is going to be the same that it has been since the 1990s, and it's going to continue on an upward trajectory where everyone gets more wealthy and men and women need each other less, fantastic. She's correct. But what happens if it's not that? What happens if it's something else? These older ladies that are by themselves simply aren't giving younger women any kind of warning or any kind of anything except horror stories about how terrible it can be if you choose to build with a man.
Well, I guess Max and Kyle get married, and then they get divorced, and she handles her own divorce, and she gets everything. Sinclair and Overton get married, and they have a lot of babies.
If there's anything that sticks out that is easy to remember about the show Living Single, it is the relationship between Overton and Sinclair. Overton and Sinclair were the quintessential black love couple. He basically massaged her feet. He kissed her every time he saw her. He thought that she walked on the clouds. That said, in this relationship, black love, Look at how she says that this one plays itself out.
She's tired all the time because Overton's still a handyman, but he's got to raise all these kids. This is a really dystopian take.
Because this is 2025, I have to add my disclaimer that, of course, I'm not advocating violence against any women. This is just regular football. And the thing about a crackback block is that you just don't see it coming. They always tell you to keep your head on the swivel, that there are 11 guys that are looking to hit you. And in this game of life, you have to keep your head on the swivel. As guys, we understand this. No one's going to come and save us. That we're not going to meet a woman. She's going to say, you know what, I'm going to love you while you're on your way up building. That is something that guys these days are pretty much given up on, except for a growing smaller group of guys. Most guys understand that you have to be accomplished. You have to have the money. If you're on a yacht, you can get her. If a guy with a yacht walks by your girl, you might lose her. And so you keep your head on a swivel as a guy to avoid, well, you know.
Just see it coming. Oh, get out of town, Jack. Oh, does that hurt? Head on a swivel, boss.
What you should be doing, and I'm talking to myself, you should be looking out for your loved ones and the people that you care for most. Whoever's in your circle that you care about, those are the ones you should be focusing on.
When I speak of crackback blocks on young ladies, and more specifically, the young ladies that are consuming this content that's essentially telling them that they can live without men, that they can do it all independently on their own, these job numbers for 2025 paint a very different picture. You're seeing a number upwards of 900,000 jobs lost in aggregate in the first 9 months of 2025. This is the wrong environment to tell people to do rugged individualism on your own, especially if you want to live the soft life. As guys, nobody cares anyway, so we know we have to figure out a way to succeed, or we're going to be sleeping in the park underneath a park bench. But for a young lady in this environment, the real proper advice would be find a hardworking guy, stay with him, work with him, and make it work. And for some crazy reason, that is the last advice that you're hearing these days.
Get married young once and get divorced. Get it out of your system.
As you guys know, I've been very measured in my response to the Charlie Kirk situation, simply because, well, one, I don't really know what happened, so I don't really feel comfortable speaking on it based on the little information that I do have. And two, it's a very sensitive, hot button topic, and it's just not really my thing. But I will say this one thing about the 5-hour memorial service. Well, I guess we could call it a state funeral. I mean, there's the presidential seal at the middle of it. If you do a search on the transcript, there are 2 words in the 5 hours of that service that do not appear anywhere in the service. One is feminism. The other is women's rights. Now, if you're a strong, independent feminist, you can go out in public and march and assume that you will have the freedom and the protection to do that. And I'm not telling you not to do that. But what I am saying is, in a time where we're having the 2 superpowers on earth demonstrate to the world how large and varied our militaries are, and then there's a state funeral for a very coveted, a very loved, outspoken gentleman, and in his homegoing, there's no one speaking on the behalf of young ladies who want to express the rights that they feel are very important, and you see all the time on social media. Traditionally speaking, you marry a guy and he says, hey, let's be a little bit careful about what we do, what we say, and let's take care of our family, and 10 years from now, we're going to have a family that's safe and sound wherever we choose to do. But if you say that there's no value for a man and you could do everything you want to by yourself and be independent and go on stage and make jokes about feminist stuff in this environment, good luck to you. What I will tell guys is, like Louis told us, find your group of guys, your guys that's going to be in your foxhole, and get to work. Because a woman that's going to come with her hand out basically saying, I'm the president because I'm here, I mean, she's kind of useless in this environment. Find a group of guys, a group of people, find a woman that is going to help you get somewhere where you can do something positive and take care of yourself and the family that you create, and move with those people. And the rest of the people out here that are puffing their chest out about how brave and proud and independent they are, keep your head on a swivel, because I think you might need it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care, guys.